Hello ladies and gents, this is another video brought to you by AntsRus. And today I'll be doing a care video for my Messor minor Hesperium. I think I got that right. I picked these ladies up from AntsRus after winning a competition for YouTube creators where we got given free ants. So keeping the legal mumbo jumbo in mind, I will say this is a paid sponsored content or whatever the hell they call it. Legal stuff over with because it's boring. Now this was a couple of weeks ago because I wanted to get to settling before doing a video, so bear that in mind. But this is when I first got them and unpacking them. So obviously with the starter pack you're going to get your ants, and you get some seeds and a pellet, that plastic thing, and of course you get a business card as well. Now it is important when you buy Messors and they've got workers that you do buy some seeds as well, because about 70-80% of Messor diet is seeds itself. Now they do grind it down and make a so-called ant bread, then feed it to the young, but they also feed it to the adults, so it provides them with everything. But if you haven't got that, they won't necessarily take the honey water and they won't necessarily take protein, so bear that in mind. Now for the first time pretty much ever, I've noticed that there's some tissue in the test tube. Now you might be asking yourself, why is there tissue in a test tube? And I asked myself the very same question, but if you look, there's seeds in there. So they obviously put some seeds in to give them some protein or some food if they need it when they transport them from A to B. And what the tissue is going to do is dampen it so they don't bounce around and damage the ants or damage the brood. So to be fair, pretty clever idea. I like it. Now I filmed this lady a couple of times now on separate occasions because I deleted the footage. I know I'm stupid, but I did it. And this is the calmer I've seen her. She is a very, very skitty queen. And this is my most recent footage of her, and as you can clearly see, I've just taken her out of the darkness and disturbed her, and she got very stressed very quickly. She's got erratic movement. She runs up and down the test tube. You can clearly see she's upset. Now, it's important that you guys remember that when you do get her or any other Messors as well, is that you leave her be. She needs to be kept under cover. She's got a couple of workers. Most ants, that means they settle down, but not her or many Messors. So if he does have workers, attach an outworld and keep her covered. If not, just keep her covered until she does get those workers. And if you do pick her up without any workers, remember she's a fully colostral queen, which means she doesn't need feeding until those first workers arrive. You're probably not going to believe this, but this is literally the only decent picture I've got of her, because she just bombs around everywhere too much. But if you look at her, you can clearly see she's got a nice reddish tinge to her head, which is very prevalent in the workers you've seen from that video. And I do truly believe that when these grow in numbers and I get loads more workers, especially with the majors where the colours become more pronounced, these will be a very, very pretty species to keep. Really looking forward to it. Now this is a very, very small criticism. The only issue I've got is that name tag for it is way too big. It covers all of the water area, which I don't like, because I like to keep the name tags on it. I don't know why. I'm weird, possibly because I could just take it off, but I would like to see it a bit smaller so I've got a better idea of how much water I've got left. But like I said, I'm really nitpicking here. Now as I alluded to before, I want to attach a little outworld to it because they've got workers. Now that outworld there is off AliExpress. It was a couple of quid, super cheap, really good. I've ordered more because they're awesome. But anyway, I'll move on. Now I attach outworlds to all my setups like this because I don't want to stress the queen out, because if you think about it, you've got to take out the end of the test tube, you've got to ram some food in there for them and then put it back up and put them back to where they're supposed to be. Now this is a lot of disturbance for the queen, and like I said before, she's a very skitty queen and it added stress to her, which doesn't help. Now attaching an outworld means you don't have to go through all. Now I have to sped this up a little bit because obviously I don't normally move this quickly, even though my boss would like me to. So I'll get a little bit of cotton wool, I'll splay it out a bit and then I'll wrap it around a bit of tubing. And then I get my pokey and then poke it in the end all the way around it, making sure there's no spaces in there so the ants can get out. Then all I need to do then is attach that little bit of tube to the outworld and then boom, I'm ready to go. So now the workers can access the outworld to get the food, so I don't need to worry about disturbing her. But I do need to cover her up. Now believe it or not, simple fix, get some foil, wrap it around the test tube and it keeps it nice and dark. And that is what I use all of the time, with the exception of one test tube because it came with some darky stuff, so it worked. But generally speaking, get some foil like this, wrap it round, and it actually sticks to itself quite well as well, and then boom, she's in darkness. Now I'm sure you guys are considerably smarter than me, and you would have already prepped your outworld before attaching your test tube by putting a barrier on it. So when you do attach a test tube, and if it's a busy test tube with loads of workers, they all come running out and they don't escape. Myself, I'm stupid and forgot, or I got too excited. Probably too excited, because I do get excited about ant stuff, I really do. Now what I haven't talked about is their climate requirements, and to tell you the truth, climate wise in their environment is pretty easy. Their temperature is 18 to 26 degrees C, which basically is normal room temperature, and their humidity is 50 to 60%, which yet again is pretty much the ambient humidity in the UK. So if you're in the UK and you're getting these, you really don't need to worry too much about artificially humidifying the nest. And remember, if it's too humid in the nest, you've run the risk of the seeds germinating in the nest or test tube, which is not ideal. I have added some liquid carbohydrates in the form of this funky coloured greeny stuff, but like honey water would do fine as well, don't forget guys. You don't necessarily need to do it with Messors, but I like to give them that option just in case. Now, like I said, being Messors, they collect seeds, so you want to put seeds in some kind of container, little tubby thing, and then put it in the outworld. But as you can see here, I've dropped it. That doesn't necessarily be a problem with them being loose all over the floor, because they'll just collect what they want and take it into the test tube. Now, as you can see with these liquid feeders, I strongly recommend you use these, not only for your honey water, but also for normal water as well if you need to give it to them, because the nest doesn't provide it like a test tube does. And the reason for this is Messors have a nasty tendency to see standing water in any shape or form and commit suicide. They will drown themselves in it, so it's really important that you have some form of liquid feeder like these. Now, with their feeding requirements and their climate requirements, these ladies will be pretty easy to look after, so I do recommend them for a beginner, for somebody that has the patience to leave them alone. If you're going to check them every 3 minutes, she will never ever develop brood, because she'll constantly eat them because she gets stressed. And it's important to bear that in mind. If you look at this lady though, she's lost an antenna, and I bet that was probably due to the queen getting stressed out at some point, maybe in transport over, I don't know. But look how small she is compared to that fruit fly. Well, I hope you enjoyed this introduction stroke care video for my Messor minor Hesperium, and a big shout out to AntsRus for giving me these lovely ladies. Check out their webpage in my description, and make sure you pop down and say hi and have a look at what he's got going on down there. But that's it for today then guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on my next one. So bye bye for now.